Yo, what's up guys? You got pokeaim here with Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee Talk. Now, I get a Wi-Fi battle up tomorrow, but I kind of want to talk a little bit about something that's very important in Pokemon, and I think it's really applicable to Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, and that's managing your Pokemon. And by that I mean that their HP stats, like how healthy they are. And the reason this is so important, and not just in Let's Go, but in general, is because, you know, obviously if you lose 6 Pokemon, you lose the game, right? So I'm going to give you guys an example right here what I'm talking about. And again, this will be more of a discussion type. Let me know if you like these type of videos. For that, I also still, like I said, plan on having an introduction to competitive Pokemon, hopefully coming out either not next month, but June, and an introduction to Pokemon Showdown, ideally the month of May. So basically, your opponent has Growlithe and Vulpix, right? Or we'll evolve them, Arcanine and Ninetales, right? They're 2 Fire-type Pokemon. Now, your Water-type Pokemon is Starmie. And you also have a Rock-type Pokemon in Rhydon. So you have 2 Pokemon, right, that can check these specific Pokemon. Now, let's talk a little bit more about it, right? But your opponent also has Zapdos. Now, Zapdos can obviously threaten Starmie, but not Rhydon. And obviously, the Ninetales can Will-O-Wisp, the Rhydon to burn it, and Arcanine can Superpower. So, in that situation, what do you do, right, when you're playing the game? And I'm sorry if this doesn't make a lot of sense. I'm just trying to like talk really. But if I want to win the game, I definitely want to be aware of what Pokemon I'm switching in. So in the situation of Arcanine and Ninetales, and my opponent also has Zapdos, it's almost always going to be better for me to switch into Starmie versus Rhydon. And the reason this is that, one, my Rhydon's important because I need it for their Zapdos. But 2, Starmie is a Pokemon with reliable recovery, right? I have Recover on my Starmie. So not only can I switch in and threaten them with water moves, but I can take repeated hits, right? And I don't care too much about being burnt by something like Will-O-Wisp, right? The best thing that Ninetales can do to touch me is like Dark Pulse, and Dark Pulse is like a 3-hit KO at best, right? Whereas my Scald with Rocks Up or my Surf is a 2-hit KO on my opponent. So in that situation, going Starmie is always the better play because not only does it give me a Sponge, a Pokemon that can, you know, tank a hit, threaten out my opponent, but also recover, so it lets me sponge the Fire-type attacks or whatever comes out. But it means that I'm able to save my Rhydon for what it's supposed to be able to check, right? Which is Zapdos. So while I still have, and again, the reason that I was also better in that situation is because I can lose the game if I don't have Rhydon. But I don't think I'll lose the game if I don't have Starmie, because Starmie can repeatedly come in and it can threaten what it's supposed to threaten out, and while still giving me a switch into Zapdos, right? And like in this situation, you know, an electric type attack versus my team is very threatening, which is why Rhydon is key. But if I keep switching in Rhydon on, let's say a Superpower on an Arcanine, predicting my Rhydon switch, right? That does about 40-something%, right? 45%. My Rhydon is now, after Stealth Rock, at half HP, which means that Zapdos can possibly Toxic/U-turn, wearing me down quicker and quicker when it comes in, and then going towards an endgame where my opponent can click Thunderbolt versus me. Whereas if I use Starmie, and hopefully this is not as confusing, I'm trying to explain it as many times as possible, but if I use Starmie to pivot in on these, not only do I threaten them out, but I also can recover the hits with the move Recover, while still keeping Rhydon alive for Zapdos. And when Zapdos comes in, let's say Zapdos does come in on Starmie after I go for Recover, I just go right out to Rhydon, right? Even if they U-turn and they go out into, you know, Arcanine to Will-O-Wisp me, I'll switch back out into Starmie and not care about it. Even though Arcanine will almost never come into Will-O-Wisp unless it's super important for that Zapdos, so maybe they will, just so my Zapdos can beat me 1v1. But yeah, I just wanted to make that clear. Like managing your Pokemon's HP is very important, right? And figuring out which ones you want to switch. I'll give another example. My opponent has Mewtwo and Mew, right? So 2 powerful Psychic types, obviously one a little bit more powerful than the other in Mewtwo. And I have an Alolan Muck. Now, I say this a lot, but I'm not going to switch in my Alolan Muck on Mew because I want to save my Alolan Muck for the Mewtwo, right? Mewtwo has a high speed tier. It can Mega Evolve. It has strong attacks. And Mew as well is commonly using moves like Will-O-Wisp to cripple, physical attackers like Alolan Muck. So obviously if the Will-O-Wisp mean my crunch will do less, they're wearing me down. I'm not going to be able to deal with a Mewtwo as well. So what I'll do is and you'll see this in my Wi-Fi battles, and I do encourage you to check out the Wi-Fi battles as well. There's a playlist down below. But what I'll do is I'll use other means to deal with Mew. Like let's say I have a Pokemon that can take a hit. We'll go back to Starmie. Starmie can take a hit, right? My Starmie has Thunder Wave. Maybe what I'll do is I'll go Starmie because Starmie isn't threatened by any of Mew's, stab attack, Psychic, right? Unless Mew has, some coverage moves like Thunderbolt, for instance, or Mega Drain. But I'll go Starmie. Maybe I'll Thunder Wave them. That way the rest of my team is faster. They can actually threaten it offensively, as opposed to going Muck and bringing it in on a potential, even taking like non-super effective attacks, right? Like if I bring in Muck, and my opponent goes for Thunderbolt, right, or Flamethrower, that's like 20-something% off a Muck that could be used to help me better check Mewtwo, right? And maybe the situation comes where Mewtwo comes in, and because I let Muck take that extra damage, I can't beat the Mewtwo, and someone at the end might be like, well, you only lost because your opponent had Mewtwo. Like that's an unfair Pokemon. Sure, right? But if I played it better, if I managed my Pokemon better, if I didn't let the Pokemon that I needed to deal with it not take the hit, that way it was healthy enough to deal with the Pokemon, I could have won that game. So that was a loss on me, right? That's just something I want to know. Ideally, it makes sense. Obviously, as you play the game, and a lot of people on my channel already know this, but for those that might have came from Let's Go, you might not understand this concept. So let me know if what I said makes sense to you. Hopefully you guys understand why. Like certain Pokemon are just, if I need them to deal with another Pokemon, I can't let it take a certain hit. Otherwise, it's not going to be able to do its job effectively, which may just result in me losing. But let me know how you feel about these talks as well. As I mentioned, I'll get a Wi-Fi battle up this weekend, too, obviously, because Saturday and Sunday. And I didn't really want to upload a Wi-Fi battle. I just wanted to talk about this so you guys can, learn. So thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye, my friends.